What is up, guys? Welcome back. We got another video here on the Fantasy Fellowship channel. My name's Kyle. I am frustrated. I I recorded an hour and 20 minutes for a podcast earlier today, and it did not have audio. So I do not know what the issue was. It was going to be a really nice video, hour and 20 minutes long. I went through every team, all 32 NFL teams, and just gave snippets of information on every player that I possibly could. And I'm just not going to make another hour and 20-minute video. It's 10 o'clock at night here for me. So I'm going to make a condensed version of it and try a different spin on things. So this is going to be everything you need to know if you're drafting this weekend. I'm going to look at the ADP here on ESPN. This is their projections tab. And we're just going to kind of go down and I'm just going to keep identifying things that stick out to me. So I'm pretty frustrated. I do most of my heavy drafting on Labor Day weekend. So next week, we will get that big video out where I go through all 32 teams. So here's the condensed version. And we're just going to start, player one and work our way down. I think Jamar Chase, I don't really need to tell you to draft Jamar Chase. He's worth the 101. I like Bijan. If you want to try something different at the 101, that's fine. Those are really the only two guys that I consider there. I would rank Bijan second. It's a preference call. If you have the 101, you want to go Jamar Chase. I'm not gonna. He's the best. We're nitpicking here. These are the best two players, best receiver, best running back. Now, I personally don't have JJ Justin Jefferson here at 3. I think he's wide receiver 3 behind CeeDee Lamb for me. I'm willing to take CeeDee Lamb here as high as 3. I also think Jahmyr Gibbs is someone that I would consider at 3. So for me, Lamb and Gibbs are my number 3 and 4. And I push JJ and Saquon down a little bit. JJ got the hamstring thing that's kept him out of camp. That's fine. You also have JJ McCarthy, which we don't really know what we're going to get. I feel more comfortable with Lamb, definitely more comfortable with Chase. To me, it's still a top 3 tier of Chase, Lamb, and Justin Jefferson in that tier. I'm probably just going to take Lamb and Gibbs over him. If you want to take JJ at 3, that's fine. I don't hate it. I feel a little bit better about the other two. And then to me, Barkley is behind Bijan, behind Jahmyr. We're just talking about a guy that just ran for 2,000 rushing yards last year, 345 carries. He did get some catches. I don't see him getting the 48 that they're projecting here. That's a ton of volume for a guy, and you can see the average yards per touch going down, touchdowns going down. I don't know if the reception numbers are going to go up. So to me, I just kind of see a player that is probably pointing down. I still think he's worth the top 5, top 6 pick, though. I'm behind Saquon just versus these guys, Jahmyr Gibbs and CeeDee Lamb. Those are two of my favorite targets. That's kind of why I like sitting at that 5 or 6 spot. One of these guys usually falls to me, and those are my clear top 6. Now, I do have CMC at 7. I get it. He's an injury risk. I think I'm willing to take that risk. If I have the 6th or 7th pick, I'm willing to take CMC. And if he falls, man, I think you got to think about it. Now, this is where my rankings start to differ quite a bit because I don't really like taking Puka, Malik, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is my 3rd tier of wide receivers for me. My 2nd tier of wide receivers is actually down here at Nico, Brian Thomas Jr., and Drake London. These are the guys that I have in the top 12 of my rankings. I think Nico, Brian Thomas, and Drake London are all set for career seasons, and they're young. They're up-and-coming guys. London could easily lead the league in receptions and targets this year. I think Brian Thomas could easily lead the league in yards and touchdowns. I think Nico could lead in pretty much yards, touchdowns. Like, these are big, heavy hitters, and I want to be high on them just to get that career season spike. Puka, you have the Matthew Stafford concerns, and I also think Devontae Adams being there could be a little bit of an issue for him to hit his peak ceiling. Malik Neighbors, he's got a back injury that's kept him out of practice and a toe injury. He's on the record himself saying that he's not quite sure if he's ready to be a top receiver in the league until a year or two. So I see this kind of being as, I don't know, I don't feel great about it. And then Amon-Ra, he had a knee thing earlier in the preseason or in the offseason. He should be good to go. But I just worry a little bit more about Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs, and just the offensive identity is going to change a little bit. I still think Amon-Ra is going to be a great pick. But for me, I see the upside of a Brian Thomas. Like, those are 1,500 yard receivers. And I think London's going to be more volume than Amon-Ra this season. So good pick, but not it feels more like a safe pick than like a home run pick. I think I'm shooting for home runs here. So I don't take a lot of Puka, Malik, and Amon-Ra right now. If I do get the 8th, 9th, 10th pick, I might go Ashton Genty here. Genty he's the safe pick at running back. I think this is a pretty modest projection at 273 carries for him. The receptions are very high. That's too many receptions. I think those will come down. The carries will go up here at the 273 level. And we know he's going to be the centerpiece of the offense. End of the first round, I think I'm fine with Genty. And if I want to come back and land one of these top end wide receivers, I do feel pretty good about it. I would throw A.J. Brown in this tier with these guys, Puka, Malik, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So for me, I'm looking for guys that I feel good about. I feel good about Genty. I do feel good about Nico, BTJ, and London. AJ Brown's got a little bit of a hamstring thing. I don't know if I feel as good about that. And then Devon Achane right now, like he's actually lower in my rankings. I had to lower him a little bit. I think he's a 2nd round pick now with that calf strain and just kind of the stink of the Dolphins going on. I'm not super interested in the Dolphins. I do like Achane in the 2nd round, but right now, give me Jonathan Taylor, give me Josh Jacobs, maybe Derrick Henry. But JT and Jacobs, if you want to get a running back in the middle of the 2nd round, these are 2 of the best picks that I think you can make in this round outside of the receivers that I mentioned. But JT, Daniel Jones at QB, I mean, they're giving him 342 carries, almost 1,600 yards. Like this is your rushing leader numbers right here for the season. JT's going to eat. He's one of my favorite picks in round 2. Jacobs can eat as well. Marshawn Lloyd can't be trusted to stay healthy for more than a week. And I just think you're going to be happy with what you get from Josh Jacobs from a consistency and just a volume standpoint. So we love JT. We love Josh Jacobs. And that makes it easier for me to pass on an Achane, or if you want to pass on a Genty, you could start your draft with one of the receivers that I mentioned, Nico, BTJ, and come back and get JT or Jacobs in round 2. That feels pretty good to me. I don't take a lot of Derrick Henry. I'm not going to yell at you if you want to take him, but we're just talking about a 30-plus-year-old running back. At one point, it's going to come down, man. He just ran for 1,900 yards, another 325 carries. He doesn't catch the ball. I'm for sure taking JT and Jacobs over him. If Henry's the last of the guys at the range here, I'm probably looking at Bucky or Chase Brown, as they have a nice receiving profile. I see them running for 11 to 1,200 yards. I feel safer with these guys in a PPR league. In a standard half PPR, I'll go Henry. The tight ends here, Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. I don't like taking a lot of these guys. If you look at the points in the range here, like last year, Brock Bowers was great. He had 262 points. McBride had 250 points. I look around at some of the receivers. I think Ladd McConkey might be a guy that I'm taking over him. Maybe T. Higgins. I think those tight ends are more 3rd round tight ends where you start to see some of the quarterbacks and the receivers going. So I'm not super into the tight ends at this range. I'm for sure taking, the guys above here. I'm taking the receivers that I mentioned. I'm taking the 2 running backs here. So they're just a skosh little too high. If you're at the back end of round 2, though, I'm not going to be mad if you want to grab one of these guys and figure it out. But I like a lot of the tight ends later. And I usually want a tight end that's going to catch the ball. These 2 are going to catch a ton of passes this year. So if you want one, wait for the 2-3 turn to see what happens. But I'm probably taking these running backs, Bucky and Chase Brown, over him, over both of those tight ends. I'm pretty excited about Chase Brown catching passes. I think Bucky's a great pick. So these 2 running backs I co-sign. If you want to start your draft with CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson and come back with one of these running backs, that fits pretty well. Now you got T. Higgins here. And this is kind of where the receivers start to get a little like, I don't know. Tyreek Hill, I'm just not taking Tyreek Hill. I have a no knucklehead policy, and it just seems like he's always up to something. And this is too high for a player in decline. Didn't even hit 1,000 yards last year, in and out of the lineup. I'm not taking Tyreek Hill. I think T. Higgins, now that he's paid and hopefully going to stay healthy, like I think T. Higgins is a fine wide receiver too, but we're kind of taking him on the high end here. So I don't get a lot of T. Higgins here. I do take a lot of Ladd McConkey though. If I'm looking for a receiver in the 3rd round, he is kind of the guy. I mentioned Puka, Devontae Adams. I think I'm more likely to click on Devontae Adams in the 3rd round than I am to take Puka in the 1st round. And then this is the QB round, man. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts all in a row here. I mean, you compare him to a lot of the guys in this round, a lot of questions at running back, at receiver. I do think Jackson Smith and the Jigba, like he's going to catch a lot of passes this year with Sam Darnold. Smith and the Jigba, I'm probably putting him up here with Ladd McConkey. Like him and Ladd are two of the receivers that I want in the third round. If I can't get those receivers, I'm probably just going to collect a quarterback, and to me, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, those are the two that I have in the tier at the top. But Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts are going to be fine consolation prizes if you get one of these guys at the back end of round 3, or if they slide into the 4th round. I'm totally fine with that, because after these guys, like we're comparing them to some questionable running backs like Kieran Williams. Yeah, he got paid. He gets a lot of volume and stuff, which is nice. But we're just a little bit worried about the Rams. I do think Kieran is the better pick over James Cook. And if I want a running back in that round, I'm fine with Kieran over James Cook. But if I go a little bit further here, I mentioned JSN. I like him in the 3rd round. Terry McLaurin, I think we're buying him at his ceiling. He ran really hot on touchdowns last year, 13 touchdowns. ESPN's projecting him to come down 6 touchdowns this season. They are giving him more targets, receptions, and yards. I don't know about that. But to me, I see last year being kind of a peak ceiling year for him in the touchdown category. Can he match the numbers from last year? We'll see. I don't really feel great about it. I'd rather take a shot on Omarion Hampton, who to me is one of my favorite like if you could take anything away from this video, I think I'm going to tell you, take Omarion Hampton. He is a fantastic pick. Rookie 1st round running back on a run heavy team that wants to run the ball. Najee Harris blew up his eye on 4th of July. This is Hampton's backfield, man, and I think he's going to be heavily utilized in this offense. So he is the premier 3rd round pick for me. I might even prefer Omarion Hampton over these two guys, Kieran and James Cook. If I don't want a quarterback here, I'll probably take Omarion Hampton or JSN. I think Garrett Wilson's overpriced here. You don't want a piece of that Jets offense in this 3rd round, especially a passing option. I think that's going to be a headache. He's more of like a wide receiver 3 flex for me. Yeah, he's going to have a high target volume share, but it's going to be inconsistent. Maybe he could overcome it, but I just think there's better bets at this ADP. More into the 4th round now. Kenneth Walker, dude just can't stay healthy, and that's been kind of the talk of training camp so far. So I'm kind of crossing Kenneth Walker off my board. If you take him, you got to build in some risk with that and make sure you have a backup ready to go just in case he misses time. We know he's a good player. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, man. And he's not healthy right now in training camp. He's kind of practicing almost every 3rd day, it seems like. I do think Joe Burrow here is fine in the 4th round if you want to pull it. But one of my favorite 4th round picks will be George Kittle. That's kind of why I pass on Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. Is just I like George Kittle so much. He's the most efficient tight end in football, and he's also probably the best just all-around tight end. Like, and he's fun to root for. And with the injuries at the receiver position in San Francisco, I think George Kittle probably set for a career year, honestly. Like, he's going to smash. George Kittle in the 4th round sounds great. I think Alvin Kamara is a fine RB2 option for you in PPR leagues here in the 4th round. Chuba Hubbard is a terrible price here. I think he's a good rusher. He's a terrible receiving back. Yeah, he can catch the ball fine, but he's not going to do a lot with his receptions. And they bring in Rico Dowdle, which I think a lot of people are overlooking. Rico ran for 1,000 yards last year. He caught a ton of passes in that offense. He's a good backup. I think drafting Chuba Hubbard here, I mean, give me James Conner, give me Trey Henderson. These guys I feel safer with. Chuba Hubbard, you're going to need him to get 20 carries for him to really get into the end zone and things like that. So he could be a fine pick. It doesn't feel like a huge ceiling swing. Whereas with Conner stays healthy. That's a top 10 running back. Travion Henderson, one of the premier 4th round picks right now. And it took me a while to get there, but I do feel very, very good about him. The Patriots, Josh McDaniels, his running backs catch passes. You got to think about James White, Shane Vereen. Dude's going to be one of their best weapons. He is their best weapon outside of Drake May, really. And they're giving him too many carries. Like, I don't see him going over 223 carries. I think Mike Clay's off on that. I have him probably in the 150s, 160s. But his receptions, I can see him going over 50, maybe even over 60. He's going to be a huge PPR weapon. Kind of think about, like, to me, when I looked up rookie numbers for DeAndre Swift had, I think, 120 or so carries. He also had a handful. He had like 40, 50 receptions, and he ran hot on touchdowns. That's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for a guy that's going to be ultra explosive and efficient with his touches. Travion Henderson, the best player on the Patriots. We're going to see that pretty quickly here. Mike Evans is a good price here. Round 4 receiver, can't complain. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a good price. I love the Xavier Worthy price as well. Rashee Rice is going to be suspended anywhere between 6 and 10 games. And I have a no knucklehead policy, right? Rashee Rice is a bit of a knucklehead for me. I like Worthy, continue to draft him. DK Metcalf is also a good price here too. You're starting to see receivers stick out in the 4th and 5th rounds that I feel really good about. DJ Moore is another one. Rashee Rice, I'm not taking a guy that could be suspended for as many games as he's potentially going to be suspended for. So he's just off my board. Moving into the middle of the 5th round, Breece Hall, I think this is an okay price tag. He's finally coming down to a point where you can feel good about it. Him and DeAndre Swift, if you need a running back 2 in the 5th round, I don't hate it. Comparing, against other guys that are in this position, though, I'm probably going to take other players and not Breece or Swift. Zay Flowers, he's just inconsistent, man. He's gonna, at the end of the year, the stats you're going to look up and you're going to see 74 catches for 1,000 yards. Doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns, though. I think I'm going to let somebody else draft Zay Flowers. Probably going to let someone else draft Cortland Sutton, too. I just think they added a lot of talent at the receiver position and the tight end position with Evan Ingram. Like, I think there's a chance Evan Ingram leads the team in receptions this year. So I see Sutton kind of pointing down just a little bit. I don't see him being a smash hit. Whereas Calvin Ridley is the receiver that I'm looking for in the 5th round. I think last year caught 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, 64 catches, and he also ran in some numbers here too. And now we're getting a pretty good upgrade at the quarterback position. Calvin Ridley's the only game in town to catch passes there. So, like, I'm in on Calvin Ridley. I'm fine with Devonta Smith. I'm fine with Jalen Waddle. Jerry Jeudy's it's okay. I just don't really want to root for the Browns. Jameson Williams is the guy, though. Like, I'm taking Jameson Williams over Jeudy, over Waddle, over Smith, over Ridley, over Sutton, over Zay Flowers, over Breece, over Swift. I'm pushing Jameson Williams up my board. He's a 4th round pick in my eyes, and he's one of the premier guys that I'm looking for. And honestly, George Pickens, I think he's what we want T. Higgins to be. We're paying 2nd, 3rd round prices for T. Higgins. We're going to get a guy here that's going to catch 70, 75 balls, maybe 1,100 yards and 7, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. Like, Pickens is the guy, and I'm all in on the Cowboys passing offense. So we're in on George Pickens. I think Laporte is fine if you want to pull a tight end here. Quarterbacks real quick. There's a huge tier break after Joe Burrow. You got Mahomes, you got Mayfield, Bo Nix, these kind of guys. My philosophy on quarterbacks is I don't want to take a quarterback in the 6 to 10 range. They just usually don't pan out for them to be a big hit. If I take Mahomes here as QB6 off the board, he's got to finish as QB3, 4, 5 for me to feel like I won that spot. The downside there, though, is he finishes QB10 like he has the last few years, and it's like, damn it, I could have had somebody else a little bit later. Same thing with Baker Mayfield, man. He threw 41 touchdowns last year. Those are coming down. 4,500 yards, that's coming down. Pretty easy to see that these guys are just, I don't know. I'd rather load up on, give me Rome Odunze, give me McMillan. I don't take a lot of Travis Hunter here. I just worry about him and his health and playing both sides of the ball. That's more injury risk and things like that. So I'm kind of out on Hunter here. I wish he was a round or 2 cheaper. But Montgomery, a solid running back too. I think Aaron Jones is fine. We'll talk about Jordan Mason later. But I do like TJ Hawkinson, especially with Addison out. I think he's going to be a hot pick to start the year. If you miss on Kittle, like, I'm looking for Laporta, Hawkinson, and Mark Andrews. Those are my mid-round tight end targets. Tony Pollard, man, he's going to be a huge benefit with Tajay Spears out. I think he's a quality RB2. Same thing with RJ Harvey. You want to bet on these rookies as they're just going to get better and better as the year goes on. Isaiah Pacheco, another guy I'm willing to take a chance on here. I'm talking a lot. Chris Godwin, we're completely out here. We're not going to spend a 6th or 7th round pick on a guy that's going to miss 4 or 5 games to start the year and just not be himself until 2026. So I'm just out on Godwin. I think Jacoby Myers is fine. He's more of a guy that, basically is like the Khalil Shakir for that offense. You're going to get your 10, 12 points and feel okay. I'm buying Chris Olave at this price. I think Matthew Golden's a fantastic pick as well at this price. Michael Pittman, no. Cooper Kupp, no. Stephon Diggs, maybe. I don't really like this group of receivers here at those prices. I do like Tyrone Tracy and Jalen Warren, though. Those are good prices for RB2s, top 24 running backs. That should be a lot involved in the passing game. Caleb Johnson in the 7th round, like, what are we doing? He's just not going to catch passes. If you're in a PPR league, just cross Caleb Johnson off your list. I'm crossing Travis Kelce completely off my list. The guy's clearly in decline. Only 3 touchdowns last year. Maybe that changes a little bit this year, but I don't want to hold on to the bag here. It feels like the bag's gone stale on Kelce. He's going to be a volume guy, but it's just, there might be guys with more upside behind, especially Njoku and Mark Andrews here and Evan Ingram. Give me all three of these guys over Travis Kelce. Again, I think Ingram, they're projecting him for 80 catches. Like, I think he's going to take away from Sutton. And, they obviously like Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin there. There's a lot of mouths to feed, but tight end is kind of how I'm going with the Broncos here. And Mark Andrews, man, he's just so safe and steady. He's a full year removed from his bad injury. I think people are kind of sleeping on him. I don't take a lot of Bo Nix. He's a classic dink and dunker. He's got the nice rushing upside here, but I'm looking for quarterbacks outside of the top 10. So I'm kind of not looking at Nix, Murray. Purdy, maybe. Purdy's kind of where it starts to look good, but I'm going to keep pushing quarterback down the board. Just cross Joe Mixon off your draft list, guys. He's not going to be healthy at any point this season. Cross Quinshon Judkins off your list. He's not going to be ready either. Dobbins is a little bit high, or Mondre. Like, these guys, I don't like taking a lot of these running backs, but I do take Eckler in a PPR league. I'll take Austin Eckler. I think Javonte Williams would probably be the click among these four. If I wanted a running back 3, he's going to be the starter, maybe, but there's a lot of questions with these guys. I do think Ramondre is going to be getting carries still and touchdowns. They only have him at 186 carries. They have Travion Henderson way over that. I think Ramondre leads the team in carries this season. But Eckler, I think he's going to be the more valuable back on the Commanders. Everyone's all high on Bill Merritt and Chris Rodriguez right now, but Eckler is going to catch all the passes. Jordan Addison, it's only a 3-game suspension. If he falls a lot in your draft, I think I'm fine putting him on my bench. I don't draft a lot of Khalil Shakir. He's going to be 10 to 12 points, but it's a better price than what you're paying for with Jacoby Myers. So I'm fine with Shakir. He's going to probably lead the Bills in targets. This is it, though. This is the pick. Emeka Egbuka. This is the guy you want. He should be in the 6th round. Like, I'm taking Emeka Egbuka over Zay Flowers, maybe even over Cortland Sutton, Jalen Watt. Like, he's a 5th, 6th round pick in my eyes. He's going to lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in receptions, targets, and maybe yards this year. He is the easiest click in the book. And at 98 here, ESPN's got to get those numbers up. Those are too low. Juwan Jennings, I'm not a big fan on. I'll take Ricky Pearsall later. I do think Debo can get you off to a hot start this season, though. Give me all the Ricky Pearsall. He's at 101 here. He should be a lot higher. I think he's the leading receiver for the 49ers this year with receptions, targets, and maybe yards as well. Maybe even touchdowns, too. We're looking at a breakout guy here. So Egbuka, Ricky Pearsall, Matthew Golden, like, those are some of my guys in, the 6, 7, 8 round range. Keon Coleman's fine. He's more of a best ball guy for me, though, but he could be in a big for a year 2 leap. So I think putting Keon on your bench is fine. And this is where I start to like the quarterbacks. Look at this. Pick 100. I can get Herbert, Dak Prescott. Those are the 2 guys that I think I'm going to wait and evaluate quarterback at, because I feel good about this. Dak Prescott's going to throw the ball a ton. They have him throwing 4,300 yards, 27 touchdowns. Like, he's going to be a high floor guy with that passing volume, and they just have nobody to run the ball with. It's Pickens, it's Lamb, it's Ferguson. This is where you want to be. Herbert and Dak are my guys. I think you could take a chance on Fields, but I don't really feel great about it. I don't take a lot of Jaden Reed. He's going to be kind of boom bust. He's a good player, but he's not going to be fun to have in your lineup every week. He might be a good bench player. I'm willing to take a chance on Keenan Allen, though. We're going to find out real quick if he's still got it, and he's going to be on the field a ton with Justin Herbert. So I think Keenan Allen's a fine stash. I don't take a lot of Mooney. I think Josh Downs is fine from a PPR standpoint. He's a guy that can get you 10, 12 points with Daniel Jones. Rashid Shaheed, though, like, the difference between Olave and Shaheed, I think, is too far. Like, I'm pushing Shaheed over some of these receivers. He could easily outscore Chris Olave this year. I'm not drafting Jaden Higgins here. He's the wide receiver 3 right now behind Nico and Christian Kirk. Tyler Warren, I'm open to grabbing a tight end here, especially with his first-round pedigree. I'm not taking Cam Scatterbo. He's got to still work his way back from this hamstring injury. He's back practicing now, but it's going to take him a little while, I think, to get into the fold here. I'm not taking Jags running backs unless it's tooting way late. I don't take Tajay Spears. I don't take Brian Robinson. Maybe Bigsby if he falls from a touchdown standpoint. This is the one right here, Jordan Mason. I want him on my benches in all my leagues this year. I think he's going to be a guy that gets 8 to 10 touches per game. And if Aaron Jones gets hurt, you got something. He's basically Zach Charbonnet, if you will, for the Minnesota Vikings. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I don't know, man. He's going to be in a timeshare with Eckler for sure, and then maybe Chris Rodriguez. So we're taking B-Rob's numbers and dividing in between Ja'Cory and Chris Rodriguez. Sure, talent could win out. He's a fun bench upside pick, but just be aware that it's going to take some time to sort itself out. I like this tier too. Drake May, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, JJ McCarthy. Like, wait for quarterbacks. Like, all 4 of these guys are going to put up points and be a much better pick than clicking on Mahomes and Kyler and Bo Nix 4 rounds earlier. You can put Loveland on the bench as your tight end too. I think I'm fine with that. Tucker Kraft, more of a late, a low end tight end 1. Goddard, kind of the same thing. This is a good play. This is where I like to pull tight ends though. If I don't get Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson, I'll probably take 2 of these guys, pending if they fall. Moving on down here, we're getting to the running backs here. Zach Charbonnet should be a lot higher. Charbonnet should actually be up where Jordan Mason goes. He is one of the premier bench guys that I want on my teams this year. I think he could. We know Kenneth Walker's going to get hurt at some time, and he might have a base role even with a healthy Walker. So Charbonnet is an easy click for me down here. I don't take Benson. I don't take Rashad White. I like Jaden Blue deep on my bench. I just don't like a lot of these handcuff type running backs. I want guys that get base work. And then if there is an injury, then it's like, oh, we hit the jackpot. Thielen and Leggett, bench maybe guys. Tillman, maybe a bench guy. I don't take Hollywood Brown. I'm not taking Ayuk. Maybe 2026 we can think about Ayuk. I really like his afro and the mustache, though. More tight ends. I think Kyle Pitts this late. Give me Loveland and Kyle Pitts, and we'll see what happens. Quarterbacks here. CJ Stroud's way too underpriced. He's going to throw the ball a lot. Houston doesn't have a running game right now. Braylon Allen, I'm fine with Braylon Allen deep here on my bench. I think Jerome Ford also is going to be the leading pass catcher for the Browns running backs. He's worth a pull. We don't draft Najee. We like Tootin. You can put Garendo on your bench if you need somebody. I do like Ray Davis on my bench as well. And then we're just getting to a bunch of like end of your depth receivers here. Wandale's going to catch a lot of passes. Marvin Mims is going to be big play guy. Christian Kirk, though, is probably a good pick. I like Kirk, Bateman, and Douglas. These guys can all be your wide receiver 5 or 6 on your bench. Burden's a good name to put down there, too, as a sleeper that can get more work as the year goes on. Same with Trey Harris. We're not drafting Michael Wilson, Shipley, Nick Chubb, Justice. Like, I'm not drafting a lot of these guys. Zach Ertz, though, is my end game tight end. If I miss the boat on tight end, I'm just going to plug in Zach Ertz. He was tight end like 8 last year. Easy money. Like, he's basically Travis Kelce, just 10 rounds later, it seems like. I'm not really drafting Jonnu or Darren Waller. I'm open to Brenton Strange being good. That could be a fun pick. Now we're into the defenses here. So I'm going to shout out some of my favorite late round guys. I do think Trevor Lawrence is way too cheap. Like, he might be top 10, top 12 quarterback this year. Just some quick names before I sign off. Chigo Okonkwo, I think he might be the number 2 target man in Tennessee. He's a sleeper tight end for me. Quentin Johnson, you can put on your bench. Dylan Sampson, man, he's the Browns running back that I think could lead the team in carries. I like him quite a bit. Woody Marks is going to catch passes in Houston. He's just got to beat Dare Ogunbowale. Just a bunch of tight ends and some junk down here. Kendre Miller's kind of fun. I like Rico Dowdle down here as well. It's pretty much over, guys. So I hope that helped. I'm so upset that my hour and 20-minute video got cut short, but I hope this will suffice. If you have questions, please put questions down in the comments. I will answer as many questions that come through. And good luck this weekend if you're drafting. Check out thefantasyfellowship.com. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck drafting. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.